Very good evening, all of you. Hope you all are doing well. Let's start with today's session. In today's session, we are going to start with a new module that is Tkinter library. You can spell it as Tkinter. Actually, it is Tkinter. It's an inbuilt library. You don't have to explicitly install it like as we did it for NumPy or Pandas. We had to install it. No need to do it. It comes already, it's an inbuilt library. It comes along with your Python installation. And using this library, you can develop desktop GUI applications. Okay. So now you may say, what are GUI applications? So generally, the applications which are providing a window-like interface. Whenever you run, it will give you a window sort of output, and within that window, there will be many widgets. You call it as a widgets, or you can call it as a component, different components like button, check boxes, drop down box, text boxes, label. And using this, user will do interaction with it, and the application will give reaction to that interaction. Like you click on the button, you get some response. Okay. Or you're selecting the radio button, you get some response. Okay. So Tkinter is the inbuilt Python library. No need to install it explicitly. Along with Python installation, it comes, and it gives facility to the user to create standalone desktop applications. Standalone GUI. GUI means graphical user interface. So using this library, we can create GUI applications, meaning applications which give output in the form of a window, and that window may have different widgets. You can call widgets or visual components, okay, or user interface elements like button, checkbox, text box, images, so many things. Menus, drop down menu, and all. And user will interact with it, and the application will react to that interaction. That is called event handling. Okay. So how to use it, how to create windows, all that one by one we will learn. So as I said, this library is inbuilt library. So Tkinter is the built-in Python library for creating graphical desktop applications. And what are graphical desktop applications? I told you. Applications which, when you run, will give you an output in the form of a window. And then within that window, there will be many user interface elements, UI elements like buttons, checkboxes, radio buttons, drop down box. And then it is waiting for you to do interaction. The application come and it is showing you the UI, and it is waiting for the user to do the interaction. And when the user does interaction, the application gives some reaction. Reaction is not automatic. Obviously, that reaction you have to write, those who are developing that application. So graphical desktop applications are generally the softwares which provide a rectangular area with a title, with a minimize, maximize, close button. So that is called window. And within that, there will be many user interface components, UI elements, or visual elements, or widgets. You can also call them as widgets like buttons, menus, and many other visual elements. And using those UI element, user is doing the interaction. When user does the interaction, your application handles that interaction and it reacts to that interaction. What reaction that application developer has to decide. Get it? Now, it is the easiest way. There are many other libraries also provided. Many other libraries for creating a desktop application in Python, but this is assumed to be the simplest one, the easiest one, because creating applications using Tkinter is not at all complicated. Okay, lightweight. Why? Because it doesn't take much time for rendering. Rendering means for showing that UI, it will not take much time. Memory taken by your application will be also minimum. rendering time also minimum, reaction time also faster, the latency is fast, therefore we call it as lightweight. And this library, no need to install it separately. Already it is installed along with the Python. When you install Python, this library come along with it. So it is pre-installed. Now, normally why the name given Tkinter, that just I'll tell you. It is having some history behind it. There's one language, very old language called as TCL, that is tool control language. It was long back uh, invented by one person, I'll tell you. John and some surname is there. So he invented this language TCL called as tool control language. And then what he did, he created one library called as TK library, toolkit library for that TCL language. And that library was obviously for creating Java applications. And what this Python people did, they created a wrapper over that TK. That TK is a GUI library for that TCL language. And this Python people created a Tkinter library as a wrapper over that TK library. Therefore, it is called as Tkinter. Okay? So it is simply a Python wrapper over that TK library. And the TK library is a GUI library for TCL language. Okay? That is little bit background about it. So there's one scripting language called tool control language. A scripting language developed by John Osterhout in late 1980s. So he developed this language. But using this language, if you want to create a GUI application, so he created one more library for this language, specially. That library was called a TK, Toolkit. And that Toolkit library was specially for creating GUI applications in this TCL language. And then this Python people, what they did, they created a wrapper over that library, a Python wrapper. Internally, this Tkinter library is using the TK library only of this language. Getting? So TK is the GUI toolkit developed for this TCL language. Yes, he invented that language, and in that language only, if you want to create a GUI application, he created one library called TK library for this language. And later, this Python people just provided a wrapper over that library. It's just a Python wrapper. Internally, it is using this library. Getting? And that Python wrapper, which was provided on that TK, is called as Tkinter. Is Python's interface to that TK toolkit. Getting? So that is little bit background about it. Usually we are not bothered. Many times people are only interested in developing the applications. So they simply start importing the library, they create window, they create widgets, they add the widgets, they add the reaction logics, they run the application, the window is displayed, and user is interacting. And for each event, the reaction is happening until you don't close the window. So that is generally the process going on. We generally are not interested what is in the background, but short information I told. So originally this language was there, and in this language only they created one GUI library, and later Python people created this wrapper library for this. So actually Tkinter library internally is using this TK library only of this TCL language. Getting? Okay. So I hope this basic things are clear to you. Now we will see how to create applications using this Tkinter library. First basic program we will do, our first Hello World application in this Tkinter, and then later one by one we will discuss about geometry manager, what are different geometry managers. Then one by one widgets will learn, each widgets one by one. I'll take few. I cannot take each and every one because if I start taking each and every widget, whatever I provide, it will take months to complete. So common one like button, text box, label, list box, combo box, the common standard one which are there that I'll cover. Okay? And then using that you can create desktop GUI applications. So first I'll tell you how to create this application, a Hello World application. First one. That is when we'll run this application, you'll see one window, standard window will come, and that window will be waiting till you don't close that window. Okay? So first step, what you have to do is it follows one fixed anatomy. It's having one pre-decided life cycle, and it will go through that life cycle only. Okay? So every Tkinter application follows a specific life cycle. What? In general, first I'll give you. First, what you have to do is you have to import this Tkinter library. Okay, so good practices you have to write like this. Like as in pandas, we used to do import pandas as PD by that alias name, or NumPy also import NumPy as NP, and then we used to access the functions in that library using np dot. Here also good practices. Import it. First, you import tkinter as and give some alias name like tk, and then using tk dot access everything what is there in that library. Okay. So first step, what you have to do is import that library. Okay. Second is create your main window. Okay. First step, import. I'll tell you everything on the slide. Don't worry. And this module is so interesting. Why? Because lot of GUI applications you can create. Okay. So first is, and generally it will be fascinated to those who are core developers, getting those who are only in analytics and all. For them, they won't like this. They are just happy with that pandas and numpy. That's all. So import is the first thing. Second, you have to create a main window. Okay, create main window. Now, how to create that main window? So there is one class called TK. So every main window, whatever main window you create, every main window is the object of class TK. TK is a class, T capital. And this class is in that Tkinter library. So you have given an alias name to the library as tk dot tk round bracket. You know na, how to create an object in Python. Class name round bracket. A copy of that class created. You collect that reference. Okay? So your main window is created. After that, you can set the size of the window. By default, it is 0 by 0. Window is created in the memory, but the dimension of that window is 0 by 0. So you have to set the dimension. Okay, dimension means how much will be the width of your window and what is the height of the window. Then whatever title come, you can set the title on this title bar. You can give some title to your window, the size of the window. That all you will do it using window object r dot geometry, then give the dimension r dot title, give the title. Okay. Now step two is done. First step you did import. Second, you created window. Now, third, what you can do is you can create your widgets. Okay. Now, widgets means what? Widgets means GUI elements, the interface element. Student, just 2 minutes. I'll just shift my position somewhere else. Little bit disturbance from my side. See later. Okay, sorry for interruption. So third step is you'll create widgets. Widgets means your UI components, user interface elements. We call it as visual components or UI elements. Like within your window, you want a button, you want a label or a text box. So you create the widgets, and all that widgets will you will add in the main window. In step two, you have created main window. So in that window, you add this widgets. After widgets are added, please remember that widgets are not visible till you don't set its placement method. So for that, there is one geometry manager. Geometry manager decides how these widgets will be placed in your main window. Getting? Means whether they will be placed at exact XY position, or whether they will be placed in a grid, or whether they will be placed one above another or stick to some side. So there are some geometry managers. Geometry manager, it's like real manager in real life also. Like if you go to a restaurant, so when you go to a restaurant, if it is a crowded restaurant, so in that you can see when you enter, there is one manager and he decides where the guests are to be. Guest may, in short, the customers. The customer, if it's a very crowded hotel, then he asks how many people are you. Then accordingly he decides where the table is vacant and accordingly he directs you to go there. So his responsibility is what? Placing the customers at appropriate place. Same way here we have a geometry manager, and that geometry manager is responsible to place your components, okay, within your components means widgets within the window. So within the window where the components will be visible, how their placements will be done. Will they be placed according to grid form, the row column, or will they be stick towards left side or right side, or will they be placed at appropriate XY position? Getting? So that is decided by the geometry manager. Till you don't set geometry manager, the widgets are not visible. Please remember. Getting? Now the geometry manager will do the placement, and after that, you have to enter into the main loop. It's called as the main loop. If you don't do this, if you don't enter into the main loop, what will happen is when you'll run the application, the window is visible, but it will blink and go away. Getting? Blink means the moment you just blink your eyes, within that much fraction of second, the window is gone. So window created, window shown, and the moment it is shown, it goes away. You have to keep it running on your desktop so that the user will do the interaction with it and the application will receive that interaction and give the reaction to it. And that happens within that event loop. It's called as the event loop. Continuously, it is waiting for user interaction. If you don't do this, please remember your application run, the window is visible, and the moment you blink your eyes, the window also goes away. So you want to keep that window running always on the desktop till you don't close the window. So window should be kept running and it should continuously wait for you to do the interaction. It will listen to the interaction and give the reaction to it. Again, it will wait for next interaction, reaction till you don't close. Okay, so that will be possible only in the main loop. Main loop is like an infinite loop. Continuously, it is waiting for the user interaction. If the interaction has come, it will fetch the interaction and then give the reaction to it. Again, it will wait for it. Now you will say if no interaction is happening, if no interaction happening, then is the loop stopping? No, it is just in an idle state, no operation state. It just goes in an idle state. Idle situation, not doing anything. No op. It's called as no operation. In short, the CPU diverts its attention to some other application because meantime this has gone in a no operation state. So if the queue is empty, your application will be just idle. And again, if someone start doing interaction, again this event loop will start fetching the event, react to the event. That simple concept it is. Okay? So this is the general anatomy. Okay, so you have to first import the library, then create your window. After creating window, you can set its title, geometry, everything. Then you will create the widgets one by one and add that widgets in your main window. But only adding the widgets in the main window will not make it visible unless and until you set the geometry manager. Geometry manager is responsible to do the placement of the widgets within the window, where your widgets will be visible, how the placement will be done. Getting like if you go to kindergarten and all, kindergarten, बच्चों के schools में जाते हो, so that there also you can see we just leave the kids there, and then there's one attendant. She takes that kid inside and then make that kid to sit on the appropriate bench. So what is the job of that attendant? To do the placement of kids in the appropriate bench, right? Same way, here we have a geometry manager, and that geometry manager is responsible to do the placement of your widgets within the window. Okay, so without geometry manager, widgets are not at all visible. After the placement is done, then enter into the main loop called as a event loop. That event loop will keep your application running and it will keep listening to the event. Event means user interaction. So the moment user does the interaction, it will catch that event, check whether there is a reaction to that event. If there is a reaction, it will execute that reaction and again wait for next event. Means till you don't close it. Get it? So general life cycle is clear. We will go through it. Then I'll show you a program. We will run and see the program. Then we will see the geometry managers. What are different geometry managers? Then after learning all the geometry manager, then we will learn each and every widgets one by one. Button widget, text widget, label widget, getting list box, combo box, all that. And using all them of them, we will create some applications. Okay. First step, as I said, the first step, what you have to do is import the module. Getting? And without importing, how can I use all the features which that library has given in my program? So if I want to use all the classes which that library has provided, different classes are given by that library. So how can I use those classes? So I have to import first. It gets loaded in the memory and then we are allowed to use those classes in our program. So first step is import the module, essential for accessing Tkinter functionality. Whatever the library facilities are given, different classes for main window, for label, for button, for combo box, for list box, all the classes are there in this library. So if you want to use them in your program, obviously you have to import it. So essential for accessing Tkinter functionalities. Second is create the main window. After libraries import, create the main window. Now, how you will create a main window? Main window is always an object of class Tk. Okay? T capital, K small. And this class Tk is in your Tkinter library. And when I import that library, I import using this alias name. Import Tkinter as Tk. So whenever I want to access anything from that library, I have to use that alias name dot class name. The class which is there in that library. Object created. Collect that reference of the object and use this object as a parameter to each widget. Whatever widgets you'll create a label, you'll create a button, you'll create a text box, list box. To every widget, you have to pass this root so that all the widgets will be added in that window only. Okay, so all the widgets which will create, they will get added in that window, but they will just get added in the window. Their placement is not yet decided. How they will be getting placed? Are they getting stacked on one above another, or whether they are getting placed in rows and column form? So for that, we have to set its geometry manager. So how to do it? I'll tell you. Okay. So who is your root window? The main container for all widgets. Whatever widgets you are going to create, you're going to create a button, an entry, a label, all those widgets you will add in this main window. Okay. After that, add the widgets. So first create the widgets. And when you're creating that widgets, when you're creating the widgets, that time only you're passing, when you're creating the widgets, you're passing that window reference. So automatically these widgets are getting added in that window. Okay? So who are the widgets? Your interactive elements, your visual elements, the UI elements. Okay? So interactive elements that users interact with. These are the UI elements with which the user is going to do interaction. Okay? So who are that UI elements? Buttons are there. Okay? Buttons, labels, text boxes, many more. We have a slider, combo box, list box, many other. So all these are the UI elements. User is going to do the interaction with them. And when user does the interaction, it is going to do some reaction. Reaction logic you have to write. Automatic, it's not automatic. You have to write the reaction logic. After the widgets are placed, next is geometry manager. Decide the placement. Only adding the widgets in the window will not be sufficient. It will not show these widgets unless and until you decide their geometry manager. Okay, so arrange widgets. Now, how you will arrange the widgets? By deciding the geometry manager. So there are three types of geometry managers. We will be learning all three. But what do that geometry manager do? They decide the placements of your widgets within the window. How these widgets will be placed within the window. Will they be placed in a row and column form? Means, will it assume that this window is made up of rows and column? So accordingly, you just have to tell row 0, column 0, row 0, column 1, like that. Row 1, column 0. If I give row 1, column 0, it will place the widget here. Get it? Then there are some widgets which place absolutely. Means you give the XY coordinate. What XY coordinate you give, at that place the widget is placed. Okay, so some are there which are getting stacked. Means by default it is stick to the top. Okay, and as you add next, it is getting stacked one below another. Okay, then you can tell which side to stack. By default it is top, but you can give left, right, bottom. Getting? You can stretch also the remaining place if you want to stretch. So for that we have pack. So pack is there, place is there, grid is there. They are different geometry managers. And what do geometry manager decide? They decide how the widgets will be placed within the container. And who is the container? Your main window. Okay. And after arranging that, you have to enter in a event loop. Please remember, if you forget to do that, your application will run, but your window is just visible for seconds and it's gone. Like the moment you blink your eyes, the window is vanished. So window created, window shown also. And the moment window is shown, it will destroy because you have not put into the event loop. So when you put it into the event loop, it will keep displaying that window on the desktop. The window is continuously displayed on the desktop, and that window is waiting for you to do the interaction. Understanding? Once you put it into the event loop, it will display the window and it will not go immediately. The window will be continuously running. The window is running, means it is showing that window on the screen and it is waiting for user interaction. The moment user does the interaction, it will detect that as an event. Then it will check whether there is a reaction for that event. If there is a reaction for the event, it will respond it. And again, it will wait for you to enter the next one. Get it? Okay. If you're typing any comment, I'm not going to read it. If you have any doubt, please unmute and ask me. Okay. So start event loop. So please remember, if you don't put the application in an event loop, what is going to happen? Just the window is displayed and gone, vanish. But if you have put it in an event loop, the window is continuously visible. It is waiting for user interaction. User does the interaction. It detects that interaction, checks whether there is a reaction code for it. If there is, it will respond with that reaction logic and again wait for next event. If there are no events coming, your application has just gone in a dormant state, passive state. It is just in a passive background process. It's not taking any CPU attention, but it is not terminated process. Huh? It is running, but it has gone in a passive state. You call it as a wait state. And the moment again interactions start happening, it will wake up and again start responding to the interaction. Okay? So the life cycle is clear. Now, once we write application, you will be able to relate this all steps with it. The 5 steps are given, but when I write the program corresponding to this 5 step, then it will be more perfect for you. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll create one window and in that I'll just add one label widget. Now don't bother. We will be learning separately that label widget. At this moment, just remember label widget is a widget just to display a static text or an image or a both or both. Means if you want to just display a static image or you want to display a static text or you want to display both, then use label widget. So currently I'm just creating one window, the first window. I'll give some title. I'll set the geometry that is width and height. Okay, that is done. And inside I'll just add one label widget. Label widget I told you just now. It is just a static component. It is used to display the static text or image. So in that, I'm just going to display a static image, hello world. Okay, widget created, it is added, but you haven't set the placement. So you tell the placement. So what I'm doing, I'm setting the placement as pack. So what pack does, it is just sticking to the place where it gets. It is packing itself. So by default, it packs to the top. So it just sticks itself to the top. It's like a magnet. It gets pulled in some direction. So it is pulling that widget to which direction? Top. To this direction, the widget is pulled. So automatically it is stick to the top. But if you want to keep some spacing, then you can give some spacing. Okay. So from top, you leave some space. The widget is visible. Okay. And then put your application in main loop. So when you run it, the application is visible. It is waiting for you to do the interaction. Okay, so I'll show you this whole code one by one. We will run it and then we will enter into different geometry managers. Okay, see, as I said, first step what you do is import the library. So we are importing Tkinter library, but we are using an alias name as tick, alias name, TK. Okay, done. First step is done. Now within this library, there is one class called TK, and you have to create an object of TK. And your main window is always the object of that TK class. So create the main window. How you'll create the main window? By creating an object of class TK. Every main window, any application you create, the main window is always an object of TK class. And as it is in that library, you have to access it with that alias name, tk.tk. It will create the main window. Main window object is created, and you got a reference of it. Where you're getting the reference in this root. Any name you give W, whatever you want. I have given meaningful name root. Once you get the root object, as it's the object, okay, the root object, you can set its title, its dimension by calling that root objects methods. These are the methods of that class TK. TK is a class. You're creating an object of that class and then calling its methods. So you're calling its title method and giving the string. So whatever window is created in the title bar, you'll see this, my first Tkinter app. Then there is a geometry method, which decides the width and the height. Width and the height. How to give that geometry? This way, see. The width cross height. I'm giving 400 cross 300. The unit is in terms of pixels. Pixel means picture element, means the smallest dot on the screen. The smallest dot. The pictures are made using the dots. So it is calculated in that way. Okay, so 400 pixel by 300 pixel. Done. The window created, the title set, geometry set. Next, what you do is you create one widget. At this moment, I'm creating only one widget, that is label widget. Correct? Label is also a class in that Tkinter library. How I'll access that class? By the library name dot label. Please remember, label is a class. As we have TK as a class, label is one widget class. Just now I told labels are used for displaying static text or images or both. Okay, so I'm creating one object of which class? Label class. It is one UI element. To its constructor, pass the reference of your main window. Okay, so tk.label, you just pass the reference of the main window. This is your main window. Okay, so you have to pass the reference of the main window so that automatically this label will be added in that window. Whenever you create a widget, you have to give the parent of that widget. So who is the parent of that widget? This main window. So I'm passing that main window. Okay, ठीक है? So tk.label, I'm passing this main window. Automatically, this widget is put into that main window, that is the parent window. Then you can set some attributes of your label widget. Anyway, it is also widget, so it will also have some parameters. No? So what text you want on that you can give like this. Text is equal to. So in that label, what will be seen? Hello world. You can set its font using a font parameter. Font equal to and give a tuple. Tuple containing values of the font. So I'm giving the size of the font and the name of the font. Okay? Automatically remember when you create that widget, that time only you have to tell the parent to the constructor. Actually, this is the constructor of that label class. We are creating an object of label class, and these all are constructor parameters. Okay? Okay. So what will happen is Label is created and automatically added in that parent window. And these are the attributes of that label widget. The text on that label, the font of that label. But please remember, only creating that widget and adding in that parent won't be sufficient. When you'll run it, it won't show this label till you don't set its geometry manager, which I told. Till you don't set its geometry manager, it will not add it. It will not add me. It will not make it visible. It will not make it visible unless and until you set its geometry manager. So I am setting its geometry manager as pack. See, label dot pack. And what does pack geometry manager does? Like this, there are three geometry manager. One is pack, one is place, one is grid. All three managers I'm going to tell you. Default pack manager, what it does, it just sticks this component to the top. It's like a magnet. What it does, it just checks where the space is and sticks itself to that space. So here by default, it will stick this label to the top. This is your window. Label is created in that hello world is there. Okay. And where it will stick this to the top. By default, it is stick to the top side. And between this, if you want some space, so that you can pass to this geometry manager. You're telling that pad y equal to 20. Padding means the space in y direction. Pad x is also there, but pad x is of no use this side. If you're sticking to the left side, if this component is stick to the left side, then pad x is useful. Or if you're sticking to the right side, then pad X. Sticking to the bottom, then pad Y is of useful use. So I'm putting this pad Y equal to 20. Okay. So from top, it will leave the position 20 and stick your component. Okay. Now the geometry manager is also decided. After that, you call your roots main loop. See, root dot main loop. Once you call root.main loop, you try doing this. Don't write this and run. It will just blink it. It will create a window and within fraction of second it will go. The window is created, window is visible, window created, window visible and gone. So we want to keep this window running and it should wait for you to do the interaction so that it can detect that interaction called as the event. It will detect the event. It will check whether for that event there is a reaction code. It will run the reaction code and again wait for you to do the next interaction. Getting? So if I click on the cross sign, that is also one event. When you click on the cross sign, your application detects that cross and it knows that you have clicked on a cross sign. So what is the reaction? Close the application. It will terminate itself. Okay? So this way, when you run this, you'll see this application. A widget, which widget? Label widget is created. See, this is the label widget. Text on that is hello world. The font is Arial 16. Now we'll say, can we give underline, bold, color? Yes, yes, you can do. At this moment, just understand this much. So from the top, it is leaving how much space? 20. And by default, it is sticking to which side? Top. Now you'll say, can I stick to the left side or the right side or to the bottom? Yes. When we learn detail about this pack manager, I'll tell you how you can do it. Okay? Okay. So this is the standard. We will run this application and guys, I think when I go to my place, actually I'm in some other town and I'm taking some lecture in the college. Therefore, there is little bit disturbance. But Monday I'll be going back to my place. So there it will be an isolated place. There won't be much disturbance. Okay, so hope you will manage it. Now what I'll do is I'll just run this application and we will halt because a lot of surrounding disturbance is there. Only this much application I'll tell you for today. Okay, Tkinter demo 1.py, right? Step one, as I said, what you have to do, import Tkinter. See, this library, no need to do what work. There's no need to install any package or anything. It is by default there in every Python, inbuilt library. Okay, as TK I'm giving. Okay, first step is done. Next, we'll create the main window. Whatever name you want, you can give. I'm giving name to my main window as root. But that main window is the object of which class? TK class. And TK is a class in our Tkinter library. TK.tk. Can you see? So TK.tk. And you're getting that root object. Now you set its standard attributes. There are many, each and every I cannot tell. You have to explore. So I am setting its title. Okay? Title I am giving like my first Tkinter application, right? Root.title, double quote, my first Tkinter application. Then I'm setting its geometry. Okay. Someone has kept mic unmute. If you want to ask, please ask. Otherwise, it will be better if you see. This is the style. You have to give in this way only. X you have to write 200 x 200. That way only you have to do. So it will create a window of 200 width, 200 height. 200 width, 200 height window is created. Okay. Now the main window created, you have set its title, you have set its dimension. Dimension means its size, width and the height. After that, what you do is create one widget which you want to add in that main window. So suppose I'm creating one label. Okay, label, which will be an object of class label. And class label is also in your Tkinter library. Whenever you create any widget, the first thing what you have to give is its parent. This label, see, it is a class. Okay. And that label class is in that library. And when you're writing round bracket, the object is created and the constructor is called. It's a parameterized constructor. The first thing what you have to pass is its parent. So I'm passing root. Who is the parent of this widget? This is a UI element. This is your user interface element. Understanding, guys? This is your visual element. With this, the user is going to do the interaction, right? So this widget is put into your main window. This is like a child window, and this is the parent window. So all the childs are placed in that main container. After that, you have to give some other options like text you'll give. Text will act like a label. I'm going to give text as hello world. Okay, you can type everything on the next line. Then you can set its font. Okay, font you have to give like a tuple, and in that all the font information you can give. The name of the font, any other you can try. The size of the font. Font sizes not in pixels. Font sizes are in points. And actually, 1 point is equal to some 172 part of an inch. And 1 inch, how many pixels? That depends on your resolution. What is the resolution of your screen based on that? So always remember, font are not measured in pixels. Now, the label object is created. You have told its parent. The label parent is root. So this label will get added in root only. The text of that label is also decided, the font decided, but it is not visible till you don't set its geometry. Whose geometry? That label's geometry. Geometry manager, not geometry, geometry manager. And there are three types of manager. Currently, I am using pack, the label.pack. Pack what does? It simply finds the space free and sticks itself to that direction. So by default, it is sticking to the top. It sticks itself to the top. And then next component will get stacked on it. Stack means it will just place above it, above it. Above means now in this case, down, down. If this is stick to the top, next will come just below it. Next below, just below it. Getting? It's like a bookshelf. Like as you go on stacking the books, sometimes you stack one above another. You stack like this also, no? Sometimes horizontal, one book, then next book, then next. Here also, if you have set left, then widget will come here. Next, immediately after that, immediately after that, immediately after that, like that. Okay? We'll learn in detail, don't worry. So pack, and suppose you want some spacing from the top. So you can give pad Y, pad X. How much I give? Suppose 50 MB. This is in pixels. Huh? After that, you put your main application into main loop. You can try doing this, that you remove this main loop. It will just run the application, show the window, and the window is gone. It will not wait for you to do the interaction. Getting? And if you want, it should wait continuously on the desktop and it should wait for you to do the interaction. It should detect that interaction. Interaction means the event. It should detect the event, check whether there is a code for that event, whether there is a reaction logic for that event. If there is a reaction logic for that event, it will run the reaction logic and again wait for the next event. If there are no event coming, your application will go into a dormant state, passive state it will go. It will again wake up if interactions start happening. Understanding? Clear? See. So now what I'll do is I'll run this application, Python, Tkinter demo 1. See. The moment you run it, 200 by 200 window is created, right? You can see a title bar is coming, but now that dimension is too small. Click on that cross sign and give some more. Like I'm giving 400 by 400. Okay, see. And can you see, is it giving that title, My First Tkinter App? Okay, this that feather sign, huh? It's actually a feather. Feather, I hope you know feather. Okay, so it's a feather sign. It's actually a logo of that Tkinter. So My First Tkinter or TK Inter. The title is coming. Then in your window, one widget is placed. Which is that widget? Label widget. And how it is placed by pack geometry method. From top, it has left 50 pixels. Font, you know. Now you can set its color and so many things are there. We will be learning when we will go to this label widget. You can check if I put this part in comment, getting? And if I run this application, it will just blink, getting? Gone. Means the window came and gone. It is not waiting for you to do the interaction. So this main loop is very, very important. Okay? Okay? So just give me quick confirmation till here.
Working, sir.
Sure, you have tried it. Others
Yes.
also, I hope you have tried.
Sir, pack that vertical position or horizontal position?
This pack, this pack, no, currently it is automatic considering stick to the top. It will by default stick to the top. So this is the spacing, vertical, Y. Pad Y is this space. 20 it has left. But if you want this widget to be stick to the left, you can do. There are parameters. Getting? There are different parameters. Stick to the right side, stick to the bottom. Many are there. Stretch in X direction, stretch in Y direction. So many things. So when we will learn that, you'll come to know. Okay. But this part is clear. Huh? Pad Y you got.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This vertical. Okay. So for today, what we'll do is we will take a pause here. And then when I'll go to my hometown again, then I'll be in the isolated place. We won't have much disturbance there. Okay. So next in the next session, what we'll do is we'll learn all the geometry managers. There are three types of geometry manager. One is pack. Then we'll in detail talk about pack. Then we will talk about place and grid. Three types of managers. That grid does the placement in row column form. You tell the row number and the column number accordingly. And place is absolute. You have to give the absolute XY position. X and Y. At that place only the widget will come. Getting? Like in this only, if I use dot place, so you have to give the X position. Suppose I give X 35, Y I give 100. Okay? So exactly at that position, the widget will be visible. See, is it X 35, Y 100? Getting? So there are different geometry managers. We will discuss about that also.